The meeting will please come to order. We will have opening prayer by Akira, Granado.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
I
allegiance
pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the flag
of
of the United States of America,
and
to the
to
republic
the republic for which it stands,
one
nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
justice for all.
All right, just before we have the roll call, I want to welcome everyone for joining us. Today is March the 4th, Thank you for tuning in. And for public comment, there's a Google form sign up link in the chat for those who would like to speak. Public comment will take place after the non-legislative business. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby,
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Present.
Councilwoman Harley,
Present.
Councilwoman Fields,
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Here.
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Field,
Here.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Here.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Present.
Councilman Spadola,
Here.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Here.
President Congo,
Here.
13 present.
I would also like to remind all council members to please, and staff to please unmute your phones. Thank you. On reading of the minutes of the previous meeting,
February 18, 2021, City Council met in virtual regular session on the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Akira Granado, Deputy Clerk. The Pledge of Allegiance was recited by City Council.
I move that these minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
it's been properly moved, seconded that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Committee reports.
February 17, 2021, President, members of Council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Public Works and Transportation Committee, by virtual meeting to who was referred ordinance number 21001, an ordinance wherein the City of Wilmington accepts a dedication of 4 streets at the riverfront, naming them Judy Johnson Drive, South Madison Street, Shipyard Drive, and Frawley Drive. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Walsh, Councilwoman Gray, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, President Congo, absent with leave, Councilman Spadola.
Mr. President, I move that committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Are there any more committee reports?
That's, that'll be on Council President.
Okay, thank you. The city treasurer report.
March 4th, 2021, total investment, $456,174,007.93. Total cash on hand, $11,248,992.61. Grand total, $467,423,054. Wayne Sims, treasurer.
I move that the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded that the report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We do have a resolution from all of council recognizing the retirement of Nellie Moore. We also have a resolution from all of council recognizing that March is Women's History Month. We do have some sympathy resolutions. Council member Oliver has a sympathy resolution for Odessa Food Trail. She also has a sympathy resolution for Terry Johnson, also one for Wayne Johnson, Michelle Pegram, and Tommy Steele Jr. We also want to recognize the passing of one of our council members' aunt, Miss Jacqueline Carter. She is Council Member Brigida Fields' aunt. So, Councilwoman Fields, you and your family are in our prayers. Does anyone have any resolutions? Any council members have any resolutions? Start
Yes,
with,
Mr. President. Mr. President,
yes, Councilwoman Walsh.
on behalf of Councilmember Fields and myself, we have a resolution to present to two people who are on Zoom. And Councilmember Fields is going to read the resolution, if that's acceptable.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
May I proceed, Council President?
Yes, please do. Please do so, Councilwoman Fields.
Thank you. Thank you. This is sponsored by Councilmember Brigida Fields and Loretta Walsh. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. And whereas Rob Pfeiffer and Danielle Johnson have worked together to bring some positivity to our city, specifically the Tilton Park neighborhood, with their new song, Tilton Park. The song was written as an expression of hope, expectation of the incoming leadership, and the vision of reconciliation that they wish to see. And whereas music is used to bring people of all different backgrounds, culture, and communities together, Rob and Danielle have found that in each other, both from two very different worlds, they share not only a love for music, but an extraordinary admiration for each other and humanity. And whereas this dynamic duo is committed to their community and even work together growing food at the 7th and West Community Garden, Rob and Danielle continue to make an impact on the youth in their community by serving food to anyone who is out enjoying the park. And whereas Rob and Danielle hope to use the song Tilton Park to address some longstanding issues with the playground and to completely replace the playground in the park to make for a safer, more enjoyable place to live and play. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council is pleased to commend Rob Pfeiffer and Danielle Johnson for the commitment and dedication to their community and is proud to recognize their continued work in the Tilton Park neighborhood. And I'd just like to say a few words, if I may, Council President. I listened to their song and the song is beautiful, but the last lyrics of their song is something that stuck with me, and I hope it's with the rest of us. The lyrics say, "Battle for the soul of the nation. We got to get better with communication. What you say, what you say. My hope is high, my eyes are wide. I want to believe. Make me feel I should try. What you say, what you say. All the people are built equal. We got to accept there's only one team. Don't be scared. Let's live the dream." So I'd like to thank Rob Pfeiffer and Danielle Johnson for making this song. It was released on February the 20th of this year. So I appreciate them. They are constituents of the 5th District, and I hope that this song goes a long way. And once we get the park done, I hope that we can play this song on the opening day for the park. Councilwoman at Large, Loretta Walsh.
Thank you, Council Member and Council President. Rob Pfeiffer, I've known for many, many years, is also, other term is, he's normally referred to as the mayor of Tilton Park. And they're a
Yes.
strange little community over there. They certainly, walk the beat to a different drummer from the rest of the city. And it's really a pretty cool community to be able to go and participate in. If you ever get the chance, they've done some fabulous things like one day a year. They didn't do it last year because of the COVID, but they have a feeding day for all the public safety people in the city of Wilmington. Anybody working anything having to deal with public safety, on an ambulance, in a police car, in a fire truck, anything. You just stop by with your family and get a meal. And there's the entire area out there working for everybody. And that's what they are. They're very much an inclusive community. So to Rob and Danielle, I say congratulations and thank you. Thank you for being able to share a little bit of Tilton Park with the rest of the city and the rest of our nation. Congratulations to both of you also. And I believe they're going to say something, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Council Member Walsh.
Mr. Pfeiffer, say something.
Yes, the floor.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored for this. Both of us are honored for this. And we're sitting in the same seat where we wrote that song about Tim Furlong came out. We played it on the roof for the first time. But so we were on, and I love this neighborhood. I've lived all around the nation and all these cool places around the country. And the reason I love this nation is because this area here in Wilmington is like the people, because it's a densely populated area. We all know each other and from all different backgrounds, all different. Love it. And that's why we named it Tiltlandia, kind of after Portlandia. That's when we got the park. It's really a wonderful place to live. It's mostly because of the people around here. And for all the support you've given us for over the years. We just met with an officer today. We're going to try one at the end of April. We're going to clean up the park and have the police out. So, thank you so much once again. And I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. We appreciate all the love that you're showing. It feels good to give it, so get it back is the ultimate goal.
Love you guys.
Love you too. And
Thank you.
all the good lyrics in the song were her.
He played the guitar.
I did the guitar. All the good stuff was her. So
Well,
Good
you.
job, guys. Good job.
Well done. Very well done.
Love you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we have, Council President.
Okay, thank you. Do any other council members have any resolutions?
Yes, Council President. I have two.
Okay, Council Member Spadola. And then
Thank you.
Council Member Dory.
Thank you, Council President. First, I have a resolution to present honoring and recognizing the 200th anniversary of Greek independence. And I believe we have John Pittas on the line with us to speak after. But I will read the resolution first. Whereas Wilmington City Council wishes to recognize the 200th anniversary of the independence of Greece and to celebrate democracy in Greece and the United States. And whereas the people of ancient Greece developed the concept of democracy, in which the supreme power to govern was vested in the people, the founding fathers of the United States, many of whom read Greek political philosophy in the original Greek language, drew heavily on the political experience and philosophy of ancient Greece in forming the representative democracy of the United States. And whereas the people of the United States generously sent humanitarian assistance to the people of Greece during their struggle for independence, often through Philhellene committees, Greece heroically resisted Axis forces at a crucial moment in World War II, forcing Hitler to change his timeline and delaying the attack on Russia. Hundreds of thousands of the people of Greece were killed during World War II. And whereas Greece consistently allied with the United States in major international conflicts throughout its history, The Greek American community has greatly contributed to American society and has helped forge the strong ties between the United States and Greece. The governments and people of Greece and the United States are at the forefront of efforts to advance freedom, democracy, peace, stability, and human rights. Those efforts and similar ideals have forged a close bond between the people of Greece and the United States, whereas it is desirable for Wilmington and the United States to celebrate March 25th, 2021, Greek Independence Day, with the people of Greece and to reaffirm the democratic principles from which the two great countries were founded. So I want to call upon John, if it's okay, Mr. President, to speak. He's from Greece. He has a presentation that he's unable to share with us tonight, but was going to speak to the massacre that happened in his hometown, I believe.
Thanks for joining us, John.
John, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Spadola, for sponsoring the resolution, inviting me to speak, and also President Congo for allowing me to speak this evening. Just a few words. Of course, it's always difficult when you want to talk about the history of Greece because things go back 6,000 years, 8,000 years, depending on how you want to count things. But where I'd like to start, at least in the post-classical period, which relates to the directly affected and gave the need for War of Independence, is when the Eastern Roman Empire was first founded in 330. Okay, and there was the split between the Eastern and Western Roman empires. The Byzantine empires, that was known the Eastern Roman Empire, lasted for over 1,100 years, one of the longest lived empires in the history of the world, and finally came to an end with the fall of Constantinople, which was the capital city in 1453. At that time, many Greek scholars who were based in Constantinople and throughout Greece fled as refugees to Italy, particularly to Florence, which gave rise to the Renaissance, contributed to the Renaissance. Those people, those folks really contributed to the notions of not only democracy, but also of empirical learning and also of philosophy, which directly led into the age of science 100 years later, which developed the notion of observing the world rather than just taking metaphysical truths as a given. Some of the principal people at that time in the age of science were Newton and Leibniz, which gave rise to the development of calculus. That era led to the Age of Enlightenment, which directly then impacted to its notion of individual liberty and freedom to the Age of Revolution. And that's where we come now to the modern age. The first War of Independence and Revolution was the American Revolution in 1776, which was followed by the French Revolution in 1789, which had a great effect upon not only Europe, but also the rest of the Americas. It led to the Haitian Rebellion in 1791, and to Napoleon, to the rise of Napoleon, who eventually invaded Spain, which gave rise to the Mexican War of Independence in 1810. In 1821, the Greeks fought for their freedom, and you can consider that the granddaddy of what are now called the national liberation movements, since it was a struggle for national identity within the Ottoman Empire. And to relate this to my personal history, one of the most significant events, tragedies of that war was the massacre of Chios, which is the island where I was born, which led to over 50,000 people being massacred and probably an equal number of people being led into slavery. Some of those folks were lucky enough to become refugees in the US, and in fact were settled in the US by Samuel Ho, who was honored in the resolution. So this also has a personal impact on me because Chios actually didn't gain its independence until 1912. So we were still occupied, Chios was still occupied by the Ottoman Empire until 1912. And the personal impact it had upon me is that we actually don't know my father was born under Ottoman occupation, and we're not quite sure what year he was born, whether it was 1910, 1911, 1912. So while all these events seem like distant ideas and distant things into history, they actually can have an impact upon your own personal life if you care to investigate them. And if you go to our family plot at Silverbrook, you'll see the date of 1912 for my father's birthday, but that's an approximation because we really don't know what year he was born. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank you again. I encourage you to look into these, into this history, particularly the history of the Byzantine Empire, because while it seems obscure here in America, it led to had a great influence on world history in Europe, in Americas, and eventually throughout the world through its notion of independence and freedom, and particularly in the sciences. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Thank you for enlightening us with our history. And also for all you do in the city, especially as president of the State of DC. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Council President, can I continue with my other resolution?
Yes, Councilmember Spadola, thank you.
As it is Women's History Month, I am happy to present a resolution recognizing Women in Construction Week. And we do have Laura Massimini to speak to it after. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. And whereas the NAWIC Wilmington, Delaware Chapter 96 has distinguished itself for 56 years as the voice of women in construction in Wilmington and in Delaware. Currently, the chapter has 17 members across 15 different companies, 6 of which are women-owned. The work done by Chapter 96 has benefited Wilmington through community development and educational programs. And whereas the Women in Construction Week campaign held March 7th to 13th is intended to highlight women as a viable component of the construction industry, it also provides an occasion to raise awareness of the opportunities available for women in the industry and to emphasize the growing role of women in the industry. And whereas Chapter 96 has unceasingly promoted the employment and advancement of women in the construction industry, and just under 11% of the industry is made up of women. Whereas the construction community, represented by Wilmington, Delaware Chapter 96, has been a driving force in fostering community development through renovation and beautification projects, promotions of skilled trade careers, and a positive vision of the future. And the Wilmington, Delaware Chapter has sought to achieve successful results for Wilmington, Delaware and surrounding areas in a cooperative spirit with other organizations. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that Wilmington City Council is pleased to recognize Women in Construction Week and to commend NAWIC Wilmington, Delaware Chapter 96 for the outstanding commitment and dedication of service they provide to the local community. So I'd love to call up Laura to have to say a few words to that.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for having me here tonight. Thank you, Councilman Spadola, for sponsoring the resolution. My name is Laura Massimini. I work for Nickel Electrical Companies, and I am secretary for the Wilmington, Delaware chapter of the National Association of Women in Construction, or as we call it, NAWIC. I've worked at Nickel for the past 8 years, but I've been around the construction industry my entire life. My father became president, CEO, and owner of Nickel when I was just 3 years old, and he gladly brought my mother on as co-owner of the company, which was really my first understanding that women have a place in not just leadership roles, but leadership roles in a male-dominated industry. So when an opportunity opened up for me to work as a marketer in the construction industry, it seemed pretty natural to take it. The percentage of women employed in the industry since my mom became co-owner 30 years ago has grown from 2% to, as Councilman Spadola said, about 11%. Growth, no matter how big or small it is always something to celebrate, but there's definitely room for improvement, which NAWIC works toward every single day. NAWIC's mission is to enhance the success of women in construction industry, be that through education, networking, mentoring, volunteering, and more. What's really exciting for Delaware is each NAWIC chapter across the entire country hosts an annual event called Block Kids. It's a competition that promotes careers in construction, and grade school students are asked to build construction-related projects. They use Legos and various other materials. And I'm really excited to say that our Wilmington, Delaware chapter hosts more than 100 students annually, which is actually the biggest NAWIC Block Kids event in the whole Northeast, which is really exciting. And what's even better about that is about half of 2019's participants were female students. So Women in Construction Week is not just the recognition and celebration of female advancement, but a reminder that we have a long way to go to achieve equality in construction. And let's not forget that next week plays just a small part in the overarching recognition and storytelling and celebration that is International Women's History Month. Thank you to City Council, everyone present tonight for your support. I hope you celebrate with us next week, this month, all of 2021 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for joining us. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Spadola, and thank you, Laura, and congratulations. Councilmember Darby.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I'm bringing up the resolution now. I am excited to present this resolution tonight. It's to honor Dr. Carter G. Woodson. In the resolution, I'm gonna give you some background to it, but I went to Temple University and I went into the first PhD Africana Studies department and got my master's program underneath that department. So I am very passionate about African American history and Black studies and Africana studies throughout the diaspora. So I'm excited to acknowledge Dr. Carter Woodson tonight. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. And whereas the Harriet Tubman Historical Society wishes to honor Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who is considered the father of Black history and founder of Negro History Week in 1926. Which was later extended in 1976 to Black History Month. Dr. Woodson introduced his historical idea to honor the proud heritage of Black people. And whereas Carter G. Woodson was born about 3 miles east on the 19th of December, 1875. As a youth, he mined coal near Huntington, West Virginia. He earned degrees in 1903 at the University of Chicago, and he earned his BA and MA in 1908, and he went to Harvard in 1912, one of the first Blacks awarded a doctorate by Harvard. W.E. Du Bois was actually the first. And whereas in 1915, he organized the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, and in 1916 established the Journal of Negro History. He died in Washington, D.C. on the 3rd of April, 1950. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council is pleased to commend the Harriet Tubman Historical Society for the outstanding commitment and dedication to keeping the memory of Dr. Carter Goodwin Woodson alive. So I'm not sure if anyone is here representing the Harriet Tubman Historical Society. Yeah, I don't know if anyone in the audience, I didn't get a chance to look.
I'm not sure, Councilmember Darby, if anyone is here to speak to your resolution.
Okay.
No, I don't think that,
Yeah, I don't think, here,
anyone,
I'm looking now too.
okay, all right. Okay, but thank you. We appreciate that. Um, Very appropriate resolution. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do any other council members have any resolutions to present? If not, we will move to public comment. Again, this is just a friendly reminder that there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to speak. The time limit is 3 minutes. If your comments are around the 2-minute and 30-second mark, I will give you a gentle reminder that you have 30 seconds left to speak. And also, please remember to not address any council members directly, but please direct all public comment towards the president, towards myself. And I believe we have one person who has signed up for public comment, Mr. William Majette Jr.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
First of all, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you and the other members of council for reinstating the opening prayer back into the council meetings. It's a tradition that has been going on for over 100 years before it was briefly interrupted with the moment of silence. But I thank you again and other council members for reinstating it and it's a prayer that is meaningful and that is purposeful. I had learned that one of the reasons why the prayer was disbanded for a while is because there was people who thought that the public who thought that the prayer was offensive because it didn't recognize their faith, or if they didn't have a faith, so they felt it was inappropriate that some of the public did. So there was a moment of silence. But the prayer is not really for the public. We do pray for the public, but the prayer is primarily for council members. You're asking God's guidance to help you to deliberate the business of the city and to do the right thing. So it's your meeting and it's your prayer, so you are able to set it up any way you want. So again, I'm glad you brought it back. In the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives opens each session with a prayer, and they open it the way they want to open it, and they ask God to help them, and lead them, and guide them. So I'm glad again that you have reinstated the prayer. Our city, has a lot of issues going on, and we need God's guidance, and we need His help as we deliberate the business of the city. So I ask that God continue to bless you and all the other council members as you deliberate the business of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Majette. I really appreciate that on behalf of all of us on our city council. I do definitely want to give credit to where it is due. That prayer came from one of our staples here in the city, Bishop Aretha Morton. I reached out to her to come up with a prayer for us, and that is the one that we are using. So I appreciate you for coming this evening, and please continue to stay engaged with us.
Thank you.
All right, and I believe that Mr. Majette, he is our only public speaker for this evening. So at this time, just want to make sure I'm not missing anyone. At this time, we're going to go to legislative business. Councilmember Gray.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby. Councilmember Darby. This one Let's scroll through real quick. Council Member Oliver.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and the second reading.
Council President, are you holding her pieces then, just for the record, or are you going to try to circle back?
For Council Member Darby.
Yes. I'm just
Yeah, I don't see her on here. So if she doesn't come back, am I able to hold it after a few other council members have presented theirs? What's the best course of action?
That's your call, President.
Okay. I'll let Council Member Oliver present her legislation, and then I'll address Council Member Darby's.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you like me to repeat that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance for present and call for the first and the second reading.
Ordinance 21-015, Agenda 0035, an ordinance to approve the Riverside Phase 2 Major Subdivision Plan of the Wilmington Housing Authority and Penrose LLC, and to authorize the City of Wilmington to accept as a public right-of-way the dedication of a new section of East 28th Street.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to approve the Riverside Phase 2 Major Subdivision Plan of the Wilmington Housing Authority and Penrose LLC, and to authorize the City of Wilmington to accept a public right-of-way the dedication of a new section of East 28th Street.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be known for the first and the second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. That will be all tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Oliver. Just circling back for Councilmember Darby. I don't see where she is here. So we're going to clerk. We're going to hold Councilmember Darby's legislation, her resolution.
Okay, so that'll be both for agenda number 0020 and 0034, Council President?
Yes, we will hold both, please.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 21001, Agenda 0011, an ordinance wherein the City of Wilmington accepts the dedication of 4 streets at the riverfront, naming them Judy Johnson Drive, South Madison Street, Shipyard Drive, and Frawley Drive.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a substitute to present in lieu of that ordinance.
Substitute number 1 to ordinance 21001, revision 1 to agenda 0011, an ordinance wherein the City of Wilmington accepts the dedication of 4 streets at the riverfront, naming them Judy Johnson Drive, South Madison Street, Shipyard Drive, and Frawley Drive.
Mr. President, I move that it be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, a little bit of background about this piece of legislation. Back in December, Resolution 1619 was originally recommended by the city planning, council to name 4 streets at the riverfront and dedicate them after Peter Drive, 1 being Peter Drive, Frawley Drive, South Madison Street, and Shipyard Drive. Once several of us learned about the names of these particular streets being dedicated, we had another conversation asking if there was any way possible that one of these streets, these new streets down at the riverfront, could be named after an African American that contributed to the city. So when you think about the fact that Judy Johnson Field is at Frawley Stadium and we had Frawley Drive, it seemed like it made sense to me for us to have a drive named after Judy Johnson. So I'm pleased to share tonight that after conversating and after meeting, that this particular substitute ordinance is to name the street or drive that was originally going to be Peterson Drive after our former governor. It is going to be named Judy Johnson Drive. And so for those that don't know who Judy Johnson was, he was definitely an African-American baseball player who spent his early part of his life here in the city of Wilmington. So again, I believe is very befitting to name the drive after Judy Johnson, since the field is named Judy Johnson at Frawley Stadium. So I'm very pleased to present this ordinance tonight. And I want to thank the RDC, the mayor, and the administration for this being an amicable decision. That's all I have for this resolution or ordinance, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Harley. Do any council members have any comments? Councilmember Harley, I do want to thank you for bringing this forward, and I would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Carpeta.
I would like to be added as a co-sponsor, and this is really good because I think we do need to honor our heroes, the people who have gone before, especially people of color who have not gotten the recognition that they deserve through the years. So I think that was an excellent idea and it makes sense. So I would like to be added as a sponsor, a co-sponsor.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Yes,
Councilmember Walsh.
Yes, Council President, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor, but since we're giving credit to people in the past too, I'd like to give credit to President Shabazz, this was partially her idea to have all this happen. So credit is due where credit is due, but I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
I would like to be added as a co-sponsor as well.
Thank you. Councilmember Dixon.
Mr. President, I would also like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, President. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor as well. We can never give enough appreciation and historical look into the Negro Leagues. It's an important part of our history and it shapes where we are now. So thank you very much, Councilmember Harley.
All right. Let's see any other council members. Their hands raised. Any other council members have any comment? Clerk, please call for the roll.
I would like to have the last word.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
I apologize. Councilmember Harley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say that when this legislation first came to me, I was the one that started the conversation about this being named after an African-American person. So I do appreciate our council member acknowledging our former council president, but this originally had came to me to be presented and I definitely initiated the conversation, but thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Councilmember Harley. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh,
yes,
President Congo.
Yes,
12 yeas and 1 absent.
that adopted.
Council President, just for the record, am I still recognizing Councilwoman Darby going forward?
I know I don't see her in attendance. Let me just scroll through it.
And Mr. President, I have another piece of legislation to present.
Okay. Yes, Mary, but I don't see her.
Thank you.
In the, so you don't have to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I have a resolution to present on your behalf.
Resolution 21017, Agenda 0036. Whereas in accordance with Section 2-104 of the City Charter, City Council shall employ such persons as may be necessary for proper discharge of its business. And whereas Council deems it.
This resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote. On the question.
Yes, Mr. President. This resolution appoints Azana Wing as the Legislative Administrative Assistant for the 108th session of the Council of the City of Wilmington. And I just want to mention that Ms. Wang came before the Personnel Committee on January the 14th, and she was interviewed at that particular time in the presence of the Personnel Committee. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Harley. Councilmember Johnson.
I too am as Vice Chair of the Personnel Committee. I just would like to extend my support for Ms. Wing. She brings not only experience in the community, but also experience at the state. She was a key person with DHSS. So I'm really looking forward to having her as part of the team if she is successful tonight, and I believe her qualifications were unmatched. And I'm really excited to hopefully have her on board.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. After going back reviewing the tape, it's going to be a pleasure to bring Ms. Wing on as an assistant, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Oliver. Council. All right, I do want to welcome Ms. Wing on board. She had an excellent interview. Looking forward to working with her, and you know, she is definitely going to be able to help us to move Wilmington forward. Councilmember Harley.
I can have the last words if there's other council members that have comments.
Okay, yes, Councilmember Fields.
I just want to say that I enjoyed her interview, and you could tell that the young lady was very talented and that she's going to bring a lot to City Council. So I am glad that we decided to choose her as an employee, and I'd like to thank the chair for moving forward on this position, and vice chair as well. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Fields. Do any other council members have any comment before we go back to Councilmember Harley? Councilmember Harley.
Thank you, Mr. President. As it has already been shared and echoed, Ms. Wang definitely had a stellar and outstanding interview. I really appreciated her kind candor pleasant demeanor. And I too am looking forward to her joining our staff. And this is very exciting, adding new talent to the staff to actually help us do what we're doing better and to move our city forward. So thank you.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh,
yes,
President Congo.
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 absent.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Declared adopted. Thank you. Councilmember Fields. Councilmember Fields.
No legislation tonight, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
No items tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Field.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Dixon.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 21-018, Agenda 0037, whereas the COVID-19 pandemic is devastating to the economic, social, and political impact to the residents and businesses in the city of Wilmington, which the impact.
I move that the resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea, nay vote.
second,
It's been properly moved and second that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea, nay vote. On the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is a resolution that is saying that Wilmington City Council is concerned about insufficient data collection regarding methods, procedures, and transparency of data sharing practices of the city departments. And that council is requesting for the city to have a disparity study done by December 31st, 2021, which could lead to the creation of equitable policies in the city for local businesses, residents, and to authorize and commission various studies on social, health, and economic wellness climate of the city. City Council will also like to be included in the selection process for determining the selected vendor, as well as assisting in determining the key indicators for the disparity study. So I look forward to working with the administration on getting our disparity study done for the city of Wilmington, which started in the past term in 107th session to make sure that this is something that the city does.
Thank you, Councilmember Dixon. Do any Councilmember Harley?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. First, I would like to say that I think this is a good piece of legislation. I recall, as Councilmember Dixon mentioned, I think this conversation got started back in the 107th Council. And I can recall having conversations with the Economic Development Department, wanting to know more about how minority vendors and mainly minority vendors, how were we fulfilling the requirements? I mean, if you look in the code clearly mentions that we do have quotas. And when I say quotas, meaning like targets, like I'd rather say targets, not quotas. We have targets as it relates to percentages of different demographics that we want to work with. And to have targets and then you don't reinforce them, sometimes you will never meet your target if you don't have any reinforcement. So there definitely was a conversation that myself and I remember Councilmember Dixon having, with the department. And I know at that time they were short of staff and they ended up hiring someone that was supposed to be looking at all of that and to ensure that the compliances around those targets that are in the code were being adhered to. So I'm excited about this particular piece of legislation because I believe that it's going to help us to hit those targets that we already agreed that we would like to meet. And so this is definitely a great big step and move in the right direction. So again, I would like to be added as a co-sponsor as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Harley. Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. I support the study. My concern with any sort of study, any sort of bringing in a third-party consultant is that they give us this nice fancy report with all this information that's, we need to know about it, and then nothing happens. So I just, I ask, for in the subsequent conversations that, this is about action. This is not about the report they give us, like what is actionable from the disparities. And if we're, I'm not sure what the price tag would be. Would love to hear thoughts on that. But, if there's them telling us what's wrong is good, but them telling us what's actionable to fix what's wrong is even better. So I'd rather do it right. And, obviously, I see there's other cities mentioned that have done it. And I hope, I hope we get a good return on investment to, fixing some of the disparities through this process. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Spadola. Councilmember Johnson.
I too joined in to the sentiment of my colleague, Councilman Spadola. This is about finding actionable items. So, first and foremost, I would like to be added as a co-sponsor with this study. And then as we look forward in this budget cycle, is going to be figuring out how we're going to make sure it's paid for and funded. Because, it's important for us as council to set our priorities. And this is a priority that Councilmember Dixon has set forth. So we have to figure out what the scope will be, who the consultant will be, and obviously the price tag. But, I definitely know we can get it done. And I look forward to working on this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I too would like to be added to this resolution as well as the co-sponsor. But I would just definitely like to say I have the same sentiments as my council, the other members of council. It's time for us to do action. So I'm hoping whoever we decide to go with, don't just give us the data, but give us an action plan and give us a timeline as well. I think that's going to be beneficial to us as council, and then it's going to be beneficial to our constituents throughout the city of Wilmington. So I don't just want data. I need data and an action plan. If we're going to pay for it, I want everything so that we can move forward with the city of Wilmington. Thank you, Council President. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Fields. Councilmember Harley.
Oh, yes, Mr. President, as it relates to the comments regarding action being taken, and that's absolutely right. Maybe Councilmember Dixon may want to comment on this, but that's the whole point of getting a disparity study, is for them to identify what it is that we need to look at, and for us to make those decisions along, with the administration to say, hey, these are some of the things that we want to look at. This is the information that was found and discovered. So the good news is that, once the report has been completed and they share their findings with us, we're the legislative branch, and we can look at these studies and work with, again, our mayor, administration, and whomever we need to work with to say, hey, this is what we want to do. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that we are the ones that will drive the action. They're going to identify where the gaps are. They're going to identify where the weaknesses are. They're going to identify what we need to deem as priority. So that's what I wanted to share. And like I said, Councilmember Dixon, they want to comment on it as well.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Harley. Definitely want to be added as a co-sponsor. Looking forward to working with the administration and choosing the right organization to do this study for us. And like Councilmember Harley just said, that it's up to us. It's up to us. If they come back and say that there's things that we need to legislate that come from that study to make things more equitable in Wilmington, we need to legislate it. If they come back with suggestions on what the administration needs to do, we need to make sure that we are holding the administration or holding their feet to the fire and making sure that, again, that this is just not another piece of data. So it's really up to us and the administration. It's up to us because we can legislate some of the recommendations. And if the administration is not moving forward with some of the recommendations, I think it's up to us to hold their feet to the fire. And there's several ways that we can do that, but I'm glad that I do see the energy and the support for this, because when it comes down to it, we can definitely make this happen through legislation and through holding the administrations, holding them accountable for whatever the study comes back and recommends to us. Just looking forward to it. I think this can really be a game changer in our city, but it's up to us. If we sleep on it and we just get it and don't take any action, we're to blame. If we allow the administration to do the same, again, I think that we are to blame. So this is up to us, and I hope everyone realizes that moving forward once we do get the results back. Councilmember Oliver, I believe I saw your hand. I'm not sure if you had a statement.
No, I was going to say something, but I'm okay. Thank you, Mr. President. No, yes, I would like to say something. If everybody would just read it, basically, it's just as you iterated, it's just collecting some data so we can see where everything is. So I'm not going to reiterate what you said. So thank you anyway for calling on me.
Thank you. And before I go back to the sponsor, just want to make sure that everyone else, that no one else has any comment. Councilmember Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President. And to answer some of the concern, this is one of my passions. I've been, as Councilwoman Harley and also previous Council President Shabazz, were working on this previously in 107th. And again, I was ready to take the legislation off the agenda if we weren't going to be actionable and we weren't putting no money toward it. So this is something that we wanted to make sure doesn't just sit on the shelf and doesn't just collect dust. Nobody wants to study, especially if we're paying a nice price for it. And also, I don't know if Councilman Spadola wants to know my price. I told that to Council President already, but I said that the cost should also include not only the amount for the actual study, but also for the implementation phase as well, to make sure that that's funded, so that we do have actionable, as what my colleagues have alluded to, that we have action that follows along with the policies that we create. So there is, for me, is a higher price tag, because either I think we should hire a person in economic development office, because they are a small office currently that doesn't really have enough leeway in order for them to make a lot of these decisions and collect this data effectively, because it was in a job description in economic development office previously. But trying to make sure that a person really is being compliant and following up on our minority contractors and businesses is really, really important for our citizens in the city. And then also, there's been conversations with the administration previously just about this topic in general. And I'm glad that they're supporting on. So we just have to, as a council, and I appreciate all of you signing on to help push this policy so that we can make future policy that makes a difference in the city for our residents. and for our businesses, community as well. So I look forward to continuing on this work with you all. Again, action starts with us. So if we keep putting the pressure on, we'll make it happen and get it done. So thank you.
All right, I'm extremely sorry, Councilmember Dixon, for going after you, but I do want to address some of the concerns around the price tag of this. As I mentioned earlier, this could really be a game changer for Black and brown people in the city of Wilmington. This can be something that leads to creating generational wealth. So I'm not sure if we can put a price tag on it. Like, what's too much? I would hope that council members understand the significance of this study and the significance of the action that comes after this study, that this can change lives. This can change the demographics of the city of Wilmington. This can start to, like I just mentioned, build generational wealth with minorities in our city. So I don't know, like, what is too much? What could actually cost? What is too high of a price tag to give us those kind of results if we take the action that is necessary? So hopefully we're keeping that at the forefront as this study process happens. And again, I'm really sorry. I do apologize, Councilmember Dixon, but I just wanted to address that also. Did you want to say anything else before we call the roll, Councilmember Dixon?
No, Council President, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes. Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh, Councilwoman.
Yes. Yes.
President Congo,
Yes,
12 yeas and 1 absent.
declared adopted. Any other legislation, Councilmember Dixon?
No, nothing else, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Spadola.
Nothing tonight.
Councilmember Walsh.
No legislation, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will move to petitions and communication, starting with Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to point out that Delmarva Power has sent out a communication, and they are really encouraging people to contact them if you're having problems paying your energy bills. They said even if before you didn't think you qualified, now they have a lot of funds, millions of dollars remaining, and you may qualify based on your current situation. And for Delawareans, they have a program called LIHEAP. It's Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. And they have grants in varying amounts. And if you get a grant, they do not have to be paid back. Payback is not required. And you can either contact the Delaware Department of Health Services Department of Health and Services website, or you can call this number, 302-654-9295. And they're really stressing and encouraging people to contact them. Also, if you're incurring back payments that you owe, they say don't wait until you're in a crisis situation, contact them as soon as possible. And that number is, if you owe them money, you have back charges for your energy, it's 800-375-7117. But they said really, really encouraging people to contact them. Your qualifications may have changed and they have lots of money left over. And one last thing, for those of us that can afford, for every dollar you pay additional on your energy bill, Delmarva will match it by $3, and they're working with Salvation Army and other local organizations to offer energy money. So that's another way for those of us who can afford it to help those who cannot afford it. So if you need this information, hopefully it will be available at City Council for you.
But the program, once again, is Low Income Home Energy Administration Program by Delmarva Power. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Councilmember Gray. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to share with the public again about the I-95 project. We can't express enough about that project. I know I've received just a few calls, not a lot. I think DelDOT is doing a good job of putting out signage, but it has been a lot of traffic and a lot of people are still confused about the I-95 project. Also, I would like to express to individuals to wear their mask and please get the shot done. The shot is being offered at several locations. I know we posted it. I know Channel 22 is posting it. I know the Moores building was offering it, but you do have to sign up. You're not able just to walk in. But I just want to encourage everyone to, people of color, to please take the vaccination shot. Is quite a few of them out there. I did a show tonight with the 100 Black women that will air on Sunday, and the doctors were on there expressing that all of the shots should be safe, but consult with your doctor. So I'm just encouraging people to continue to wear your mask. This epidemic, this virus is not a joke, and let's just stay safe. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Oliver. Councilmember Harley.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. First, I just want to mention that the mayor and the administration announced that there's going to be an expansion of utility relief funds to assist residents 18 years and older with emergency water utility needs. Grants are going to be up to $3,000 as long as the money is available to help pay delinquent water bills. I think that is huge. And I think that all of us as council members, I want to encourage you all to make sure that we get the information out to our constituents. A lot of times there are good programs going on, such as this one. And a lot of times for whatever reason, our constituents don't get the information. So I know I'm going to make sure that it gets filtered down up to $3,000 for delinquent water bills. I think is pretty huge. And I thank the mayor and the administration for making these funds available. I also want to announce that the 4th District Neighborhood Planning Council, we have new leadership. I'm excited about that because, as we all know, that neighborhood planning councils cannot submit proposals if you do not have an active leadership. And there are dollars within the coffers for the neighborhood planning councils to use. So I'm encouraging all of us to encourage our neighborhood planning councils to use those dollars, come up with ideals, come up with proposals, because that is what the money is for. When I seen the balance of what's in the coffers for neighborhood planning councils for all districts, it's a lot of money there. So I'm just happy to announce that we can, meaning the 4th District, we can now think about what proposals that we wanted to submit, because we now have a new leadership and we are now able to come up with ideals to submit to our planning department. And having said that, Mr. President, I'm asking to be excused.
Yes, you may be excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Fields.
Thank you, Council President. I just would like to announce on Saturday, March the 13th, through the Word Church, Dr. David B. Mills, Senior Pastor, will be providing food boxes for families. It's a drive-through at William Hicks Anderson Community Center, 501 North Madison Street. So it's free boxes of groceries. They're asking you to please wear your mask. The time is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the rain date is going to be, they do have a rain date, but it seems to be the same date. But if you want to get in contact with them, the number is 302-328-55 57. And I have one more. Also, the Wilmington Alliance has been awarded a grant through the National League of Cities, NLC, City Innovation Ecosystem Program. The funding will support the year-long project focus of bringing informal entrepreneurs into the formal economy and providing them with the resources to grow their own businesses. So I just want to put that out there. So there is funding out there for entrepreneurs. If you have any questions or concerns, definitely please reach out to me and I will send that information along. I will definitely post this grant information on my page as well. Other than that, I'm just asking everyone in the community, please remember we are still in an epidemic. So I'm asking you to please wear your mask. Please continue to use your hand sanitizer. Continue to stay 6 feet apart. And if you have the opportunity to get vaccinated, please do so. If not, you don't have it, please email me, call me, and I will find a way for you to get vaccinated. Other than that, Council President, thank you for doing such a good job. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Fields. I appreciate that. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. What I have to say tonight is basically thank yous. I would just like to thank, I have two individuals I'd like to thank. One is Mr. Waldo Carlos Valles. He is a resident of the 6th District, and he has been working very hard with the state, trying to make certain that people were either getting tested and now vaccinated. And he asked for my help to make certain that I got people from our area, from Wilmington, the vaccine, and it caused me to put up a post. Well, that list filled rather quickly, and the more people, asked about vaccination. So, and then the next person I'd like to thank, her name is Nora Katarakis. Nora, I'm so sorry if I tear up your last name. I've worked for her with her for many years. And when that list filled up, she was able to find me another to make certain all of the people who reached out to me about getting vaccinated were able to get registered on another list. So I just want to thank those two people. They were great help. And I'm just glad to see that more people in the city of Wilmington are getting vaccinated. The other group I would like to thank Wendell and WITN and all of their help with helping me put together a quick meeting for the future of the Brown Mansion. The turnaround time was so fast, but it went flawless. And I just want to thank you guys again because you really did a great job of helping me get that information out. It was a pretty good attended meeting. Probably end up having to do another, but for that first time out, we had at least 26 people in that meeting. So I'm very grateful to have gotten all those people out and talking about that historic site. And last but not least, I would like to say congratulations to the 6th District Neighborhood Planning Council. They actually received a great big thank you from the United States Census 2020 for their as an invaluable member of the 2020 Census Community Partnership. And my district they're really working together. They are engaged. They're really trying to make certain that we meet a lot of these marks and targets. And I'm just so thankful that that things are moving smoothly, and they're just making certain that I know what's going on. It's always being brought back to me. So thanks again, guys, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Councilmember McCoy. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, Council President. Really just the only item actually that I have to announce is that their Do More 24 Delaware just started about 2 hours ago. It's something I mentioned last council meeting, and it's for 24 hours. It's until 6 p.m. tomorrow. And I really can't understate the importance of it, raising money for our community partners and our nonprofits. Many individuals on council are involved with these organizations or work for these organizations. It is vital that we get much needed resources. So there's going to be activities, different prizes, concert, and just stuff to keep folks engaged. And so I really thank our community nonprofit leaders in putting this together. Right now, I just got to update. There are over 220 $200,000 raised already in 2 hours. So, we really got to keep the numbers going and hopefully break last year's record. So please go to domore24delaware.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Field. Councilmember Field, I believe you're muted.
Yes. Yes, I just want to thank everybody that put in the efforts to make this meeting possible, from the WITN and President Congo and your staff for another good meeting, and let's keep up the good work. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Field. Councilmember Carrera.
Good evening to all. Just have a few things that I want to share with you. One of the things that I discovered is that every time you turn around, there's always a scammer. And it turns out that now people are getting phone calls in reference to getting the vaccine. So they'll call you, they'll ask for a $75 payment so that you can get the vaccine. So if you do receive a phone call, anyone trying to ask you for money to get a vaccine, it's false, hang up. And if possible, you should report it to this number, the Department of Justice Consumer Protection Unit, and that is 800-220-5424. Feel free to give the council office a call or myself. I would be happy to share that information. Just want to continue to remind people that now the pharmacies are taking appointments for the vaccine. There's vaccination events, and also you can start to get the vaccine from your doctor. So things are moving right along. Because of the pandemic, and thank God that President Biden sees the importance of making sure that everyone has health insurance, the Affordable Care Marketplace is open. People have until May 15th to get health insurance. So if anyone has lost their health insurance because of their job, you can always qualify for a special enrollment period. You have 60 days to do that. But right now, there is an open enrollment, and you have until May 15th. You do not need to have a special reason for this enrollment. It is an open enrollment because of the pandemic. So if anybody needs information on that, feel free to reach out to me. And also for seniors, a lot of them do not know that there is what is called an open enrollment from January 1st till March 31st. So if you did choose a plan during the Medicare enrollment period that ended December 15th, and you want to change back or just change to something else, you don't like it, you have until March 31st to do that. And that is all I have this evening, Mr. President and my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Carrera. Councilwoman Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to, again, there is a new vaccine from Johnson & Johnson that just came out as well for vaccinations. That one only actually requires only for one vaccine shot versus two, which is from the other two that are currently out. So I did want to make that also. I believe Delaware was receiving 8,000 of that piece of that legislation. So of that vaccination. So just be mindful that that is also another option that is offered to you in addition to the other two that are currently out. Make sure you do your research and which one works for you and applies for you. Again, a lot of them you do have to get on the list. I know that they are starting to work with our educators in the city as well to get them vaccinated. So if there are also, you need help with getting on some lists or you're backed up, please let us know. We're trying to keep up with all the different acts that are around the city regarding health. So, and the vaccinations and the testing sites. So please let us know and keep us inside in a loop as far as if there's any concerns that you have regarding the vaccines or testing. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Dixon. Councilman Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. Just want to echo all the sentiments about the importance of the vaccines. Anybody who's listening, I'm happy to help. It's been, I feel honored to have helped people, along the way. It's definitely a team effort. The WCAC has been a major part in pushing out information and helping people get vaccinated. So, a lot of our local reps, State Senator Sarah McBride, Deb Heffernan outside the city, but she's been helpful as well. So switching gears from that, we have school board elections coming up May 11th. Depending on where you are in the city, I would imagine everybody has a school board election that they can vote in. So looking forward to putting more information out about that so we can drive some good turnout and learn more about the candidates. Other than that, that's all I have, Council President. Thank you.
Nice try, Councilman Spadola. I know you're a humble guy, but let us know what's going on next Friday, please.
Well, if the council president insists, my acoustic duo is playing at Docklands down at the riverfront. Skinner and Spadola, 7:30 to 10:30. If anybody wanted to come out.
All right. Well, I'll be there. Thank you. Councilwoman Walsh. Councilwoman Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have a whole lot this evening. Actually, the CDC this week released an order that all pharmacies that had previously handed out vaccines that had stopped handing them out are now going to be required to give out shots for the first and second shot. And that's supposed to start in about a week. So I would be very stern with your pharmacy, especially if it's a Walgreens, and to ask to sign up now to be able to get on that list. I am one of the fortunate ones. I have had both shots. And the second one did kick me a little bit. But I'm very thankful for the fact that I got both of them. And the only other thing I'd like to mention this week is this is my baby girl's birthday week. So as I've done at many council meetings, because her birthday usually always falls within a council week, I wish Robin, the light of my life, a very, very happy birthday. Thank you. Keep shining that light of yours. You make so many of us proud. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Walsh. Councilwoman Gray, I do see you have your hand up. Did you need a few minutes?
Just a second. I just wanted, since everyone was talking about vaccinations, to say that I've had both of mine. I really encourage, I feel free. It's like spring coming out of the cocoon. And I will say that I did have chills after the second vaccination, but that only lasted a couple hours. And I keep telling people, the vaccination hasn't killed anyone. COVID did. So I really encourage everyone to get vaccinated when they have the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. President. That's all.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gray. I just have a few announcements. Well, first, I just want to thank the community for your engagement, either through public comment this evening, or if you're Zooming and you didn't make a public comment, but you are still here and listening and being a part of our council meeting. We appreciate you. Thank you for everyone who is tuning in on WITN or YouTube. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your input and your feedback and your engagement. On March the 27th, we're going to have our first, one of my pillars is One Council, and hopefully at least monthly, we will do something outside of the building, outside of politics, for the community and in the community. And our first one is going to take place on March the 27th. We're going to have a food giveaway. We're doing this in coordinating with the pandemic food distribution and the Blessing Place House of Worship. The location has not been solidified yet, but if you do want to be a part of it, if you want to volunteer, if you know a family or a friend or a neighbor who needs food, or if you need food, please call us at 576-2140, and we will be able to give you the location within the next couple of days. So again, the number down here is at the City Council office is 576-2140. 2140. Again, that's going to be on March the 27th. So on a Saturday. Just want to thank all of my colleagues for agreeing to be a part of this. If any of my colleagues or if anyone in the community has any suggestions on ways that we can just be more a part of the community moving forward, again, please call us 576-2140. This evening at the Lab House, which is on 1206 North Union Street, they're going to have their first Latin night. They're going to be giving salsa lessons beginning at 8:30. I'm going to try to get my salsa on. I'm going to try to learn how to salsa. So again, the Laugh House is a brand new establishment, beautiful establishment right on 12th and Union. So please go down there and support a local business. And that's all I have. I do want to thank the staff, the WITN staff, the staff on the 9th floor. Some council members have done so, but I just want to thank you so much just for helping to make all of us more comfortable in what we're doing. You're making this much, much easier, and I appreciate you. I'm sure all council does. From the 9th floor along to WITN, just thank you for everything that you're doing. It's really appreciated. You're making this easier for me. I'm sure you're doing the same for other council members. And with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Good night.
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 Salsa.
Thank you, staff.